Welcome back to another gun build in Modern Warfare. Today we're going to be going over the Chris Vector SMG. Now, in Modern Warfare, the gun's called the Fennec, as you can see up on the top left, because they're not able to get the license to actually use the gun's real name. But obviously, it's going to be the Chris Vector. Personally, one of my favorite looking SMGs. But what we're going to be doing for the build is we're going to make it to where it's the most accurate for hipfire accuracy. Now I've done videos like this for the MP7 and the Uzi, which are two of the best SMGs you can get for hipfire accuracy. And this one might also be in that category due to the Vector having one stat, I guess, that's way better than any other gun in the game besides a minigun, which is fire rate. Of course, minigun is going to be the fastest firing gun in the game that you can have, and the only way for you to get that is by a 15 kill streak, which is the highest kill streak you can get in the game, which it is an absolute pain to actually get. This gun, however, I mean, you can just select it onto your loadout and jump into the game. Now, I believe it goes about like 1,180 rounds per minute. I might be a little bit off. It could go even faster, but it is lightning fast. It's faster than any other weapon besides the minigun, like I said. Uh, and in this gun build, again, we're going to be making it the most accurate you can get while hip firing. And it's going to fall in line with the Uzi and the MP7. Now, there's technically going to be two builds for this, but I only need to change one attachment, and I'm going to be talking about that later on through the video. So let's go ahead and get into it. Now, for the laser, we want to select the 5 mW laser. Now, the 1 mW laser does give you hipfire accuracy, but the 5 mW laser doubles the effect of the hipfire accuracy that the 1 mW laser gives you, and gives you a pretty good boost to your sprint to fire speed, which is the animation of you sprinting to pulling it to your hip, facing forward. Now, the 5 mW laser does come with the con of the laser being visible to enemies. Now, this doesn't really matter a whole lot because the only way for your 5 mW laser to be on is when you're aiming from the hip, or not necessarily aiming if you have your gun at the hip. Now, if you're aiming down sights with the gun, or sprinting, or like moving anywhere with your gun not facing forward, besides aiming, it won't turn on. So shooting from the hip is okay because by the time when someone sees your laser, you're already shooting at them. So it is not too bad of a con if you're going to play to the certain build. So we're going to go ahead and select that. It's a pretty good pretty good weapon attachment all around. Underbarrel, we're going to select the Merc foregrip. Now the Merc foregrip, there's a lot of talk about for this. It's been stealth buffed, or the stats have been increased to where it's way better without people's knowledge, and they actually have to go in and test this stuff. A bunch of YouTubers go over it. Now this Merc foregrip gives you the best amount of hipfire accuracy than any other attachment in the game, unless it has like a certain unique attachment to the barrel or something to a gun. But this is the most universal one that you can get for any gun. It is incredibly good. It gives you obviously hipfire accuracy. It's the only underbarrel that does that, or a grip that does that, and it gives you a little bit of recoil control, which it's a grip, so it's supposed to do that. It is a little bit heavier though, so it does decrease aim down sight speed and aim walking movement speed, but you're going to be shooting from the hip, so aiming down sights you really don't need to worry about too much. And it does give you a slight movement speed increase, which is a bit odd if it makes it to where your aim down sight speed is decreased, but it's attachment. It doesn't list that though. So now already the hip fire accuracy is essentially a laser. I mean, hip firing it's bound to miss a couple shots or so when you're firing it, but it's not too bad now. It's about somewhere in the realm of the MP7, which is the best hipfire accuracy SMG you can get besides this one. And for the barrel, they also do not list this, but barrels and the muzzles, the length of them, if you can get it the longest you possibly get for the gun, the higher the hipfire accuracy is. So normally you go with the ZLR 18-inch deadfall barrel because this gives you the most amount of range and technically more length to the barrel, but it does have an integrated suppressor which does not allow you to have a muzzle. So that is why we're not going to be using that barrel, and we're going to go to the ZLR 16-inch Apex barrel. So you're going to go ahead and select that. This gives you damage range, bullet velocity, recoil control, and the hidden pro is being hipfire accuracy, but it's not as near as much as a Merc foregrip or the 5 mW laser. It's somewhere like in the 1 mW laser kind of realm. And we're going to go to its own suppressor here, or its unique muzzle attachment is the ZLR Saber suppressor, which you can get sound suppression. Obviously, it's a suppressor. Damage range is increased a ton. Recoil control and hipfire control is a lot higher. Cons being aim down sight speed and aim walking steadiness. Again, you're not going to be aiming down sights a whole lot, so you don't need to worry about those. And then the last one is going to be in the ammunition for the 40-round drum magazine. Now, normally at base, this gun comes with 25 rounds. This bumps it up, obviously, up to 40. The reason why I'm going to be using this attachment is because, again, it is hip firing, so you're bound to miss a couple shots. And the Fennec, or the Kriss Vector, since it has a very fast fire rate, it burns through ammo very quickly, especially when you're hip firing. So it is not necessarily meant to go on a long kill streak, but it's absolutely decimating if you just want to get a couple kills here and there. So essentially, this is the build. When we jump into it, I will change it up for just one attachment and showing you how there's another way that you can play to it, but it's a little bit odd and you wouldn't ever expect to use this attachment. So this is what we're going to be using. Again, the ZLR Saber suppressor, ZLR 16-inch Apex barrel, the 5 mW laser, the Merc foregrip, the 40-round drum magazine. Now all those attachments is going to be your basic hipfire spread kind of gun. And I'm going to jump in here with the MP7 as a secondary, so you can see the hipfire accuracy matched back to back. You can see it's just about the same as the MP7. Now the MP7 is the second fastest fire rate, or fastest fire rate for a SMG. It is nowhere near, obviously, from the Vector. But here it is in game, so you can see the little white dot in the middle of my screen. There's little white lines kind of next to it. The closer they are to that dot, the more accurate it is. So you can see it right here. It's almost like just about an inch or so off of it. Okay, I missed a lot of bullets there. No, I'm not using the right gun. But you can see here, it's about the same as the MP7 with all its attachments decked out. It's just about the same, actually. I believe it is about the same. Now, one thing to keep in mind, this thing does not excel too well at long range. Even though you can give it like a heck of a lot of like a long barrel and a suppressor and stuff that makes it to where it looks like it should have a pretty good stat at long range. It does not. Since it is an SMG and has fast fire rate, they decided to balance it out by making it to where it's absolute trash at long range. So it actually does a little less damage than the lowest hitting weapon for a primary is the P90. They made it worse than that at longer range. But in close range, it will absolutely melt you. Like, it will drop you like right where you stand. Obviously, as you can see, while strafing and moving, it's still pretty accurate for hip firing. Now, I always recommend always reloading after another kill, even though if you have a 40-round magazine, this thing is going to burn straight through ammo.
Friendly recon's online.
It doesn't do too hot on going through high kill streaks, but it's just a fun weapon to use in general. So as you can see here, essentially a laser in close range. So your bullets get less accurate, more like longer range your targets are, unless you increase the hipfire accuracy to the absolute maximum. And ammo there. As you can see, it just doesn't do too hot on ammo. So that is one thing to keep in mind for this gun. It will burn straight through your ammo. But it's very, very good at hip firing. Again, it's as accurate as the MP7, which is the highest accuracy you can get, which is really neat. Alright, so I'm gonna go ahead and kill you, your ugly looking fella. I want to get a couple more kills here, and I'm going to show you the different way of building this gun. Now, it is not something that you'll be able to go on high kill streaks. Now this one, since he has a 40 round magazine, the max amount of the ammo pool, I suppose, of your gun, as you can see, I have 40 rounds and 18 in reserve. Your reserve ammo is going to be a lot higher since it's a much larger magazine, so it will carry a lot more ammo on you, and it'll be a lot better. But the other ammo conversion, the 12 round 45 hollow point, I believe, is something to definitely take a look at for attachment. It actually works out pretty well for this kind of build, and I'll show you why. So you might be thinking, you know, why in the world would you want to use a 12 round magazine for hip firing, you know, since it's so dang accurate, or so dang inaccurate? But it's a bit odd. So as you can see, every time that I shoot my gun, let me kill this guy real quick so he doesn't kill me. But as you can see, every time I fire another round, those little white lines that's hip firing, right when you keep firing another round, it bumps up a little bit. So longer you shoot, the less accurate you get. Even though it's the MP7 and the Vector, they don't really seem to get any more inaccurate. They shred people right where they are from high, like long range like that. So it only gets so bad for these guys. But that's essentially the mechanic on what you want to use. Now the Uzi, I go over in its gun build that it has a lower rate of fire. It's not as good as the MP7 for hip fire stats for the base, but it's a lot slower shooting, so the delay between each round, the little white line, will get closer to the middle faster, so it's more accurate at longer ranges, which is really neat. And for the finish, when I switch it over to the 12 round magazine, hold up, it's going to make it to where it's going to make it to where there's a bit of a delay between each one of your shots, much like the, what is it, the Uzi. So this is a 12 round magazine. It's a 45 hollow point, so it will hit a lot harder than the normal rounds that you have, which is 45 ACP, I believe. And so in hardcore, this is a one-shot kill, or a one-burst kill, I should say. And it's pretty neat. Again, it's only 12 rounds, but since the burst delay, which is very short, but it's just a little bit longer than the normal fire rate, it closes much more. And as you can see here, it's a lot smaller than the MP7, just barely, but it does get there for the hip fire accuracy. So I'm able to beam people like that. Now since the Fennec has the highest fire rate in the game, the burst delay is almost non-existent, as if you can keep tapping your finger faster. So it can still kill at pretty long ranges, but again, the only downside is you having a 12 round magazine. And every so often you may miss a lot of rounds, but as you can see there, you can kill people more accurately at way longer ranges. So this is more or less like a sniper version of hip fire accuracy. Now the only other gun that has these rounds that you can equip to it is the UMP or the Striker 45, I believe. And that also does pretty well. If you want me to go over a different video going over the same build, I'll go ahead. But that gun in particular is not necessarily the best because it's the slowest shooting SMG in the game. So the burst delay for these rounds will be a lot slower. So it's not necessarily the best. But this is a really odd kind of build for it. Again, the 40 round magazines, that will absolutely keep you up in a little bit more of a kill streak kind of deal. Because this gun, again, burns straight through ammo. But if you want to shoot people at ridiculous ranges without needing to aim, this is it right here. It is incredibly accurate since the burst delay, which is very small, but it gives you like that fraction of a second for it to recenter. It is technically slightly more accurate than the MP7 now. But the only downside is, you know, having 12 rounds again. It does increase your reload speed a ton. It is a way smaller round or magazine, so your movement speeds increase a ton. The reload speed is increased a ton. You can throw sleight of hand, which is a weapon perk, to increase reload speed even more. And since I'm running a train timer gives me increase aim down sight speed, aim down or the movement speed while aiming, and reload speed. So I didn't put on sleight of hand, but when I kill someone here, I can show you how fast the reload speed is from it going for the 40 round drum magazine. to being the 12 round. It's a lot faster. So it's much faster than the 40 round magazine, so you reload faster, you shoot at much longer ranges than with the base stats and the high fire rate of the 40 round magazine, or the normal rounds, I guess. And it hits a little bit harder. So if you're playing hardcore, you'll kill people in one shot. So all you gotta do is just land one shot and you'll be able to kill somebody. So essentially in hardcore, you turn a fast firing sniper rifle, which is incredibly overpowered when you think about it, but in core it's not as good. I believe the 45 ACP rounds, or the hollow point rounds, do about 45 damage, I believe. So you want to hit people 3 times, so one burst and a half, I guess, will get to it. Or technically 3 bursts, or 2 bursts you're going to have to actually fire. 3 shots is what you need to actually kill them.
UAV entering the AO.
And it is pretty neat. So there you go, there's the sniper build for it, essentially. Again, only 12 round magazine, but it does reload faster. So you don't need to worry about that too much. You just go in and out, pop in, shoot them, come back out, reload. And it'll work out, gives you increased movement speed, so you can get around for flanks and stuff a lot faster and stuff like that. So it's pretty neat. Of course, you know, you can always aim down sights with the gun too. You don't need to actually use it. This kind of hip fire build kind of deal. But this is the one, the most overpowered builds I can find for it. And since the 45 hollow point rounds have more damage, it does increase the damage range. So now, like I said, it's more of a sniper. So that drop off for your damage is now increased massively. Or not the drop off, but I mean the range of your gun. If it was a drop off, you know, it would make it worse.
UAV is bingo fuel. RTB for resupply.
So I don't know how that.
Call for fire. Position mark.
Just drop down a
Striker 3-2 on station.
VTOL for no odd reason. But yeah, so this is preferably one of my favorite ways of running it, because people don't really know what's going on. Because they see me using the 12 round magazine, but they don't know how, you know, lasering them halfway across the map. Get that. I'm just gonna go ahead and kill you. In close range, it doesn't do too hot because it has longer, or the burst delay is a little bit longer. Or the fire rate, of course, is a lot longer. But it does do well in longer ranges and stuff. So that's kind of where these rounds play a part in this gun. Because again, like I said, it is worse than the actual, not the best, like, hard-hitting kind of weapon, which I believe was the P90. I believe it is 7 shots to kill people at a pretty good range. Every other gun will drop off to like 4 to 5 shots, and this thing drops down to 7. So it's not necessarily the best at all in long range. But again, it will absolutely shred in close range since the high fire rate and stuff. So hopefully these kind of interesting kind of builds. Definitely this one to me is, because you technically have a sniper rifle that shoots faster than any other gun, or has a burst delay that's faster than any other gun is blasting off here. And again, in hardcore, it's a 1-shot kill, or technically a 2-shot kill. No, 1 shot. So every guy in hardcore, or every single player in hardcore, will have 40 health. So this will be technically a 1-shot kill, but you're going to be shooting 1 burst, of course. There we go. Let's go ahead and grab that. We can switch back to the 40 round drum magazine. Now personally, I think they could have bumped it up to like a 60 round mag or something, because again, this gun does not do too hot in in kill streaks. So it's not necessarily the best, but if you want to like absolutely shred people up close, this is the build that I would recommend running. It has a lot more rounds, hip fire accuracy is way higher. I mean, you could technically rush a pretty good bit with this gun now. I don't know if that he's looking at. As you can see already from that range, the damage was already dropping off. It took like 4 hits just to kill him. So yeah, this gun's not necessarily the best at all in long range unless you have the 45 hollow point. It turns the whole entire gun stats around when you use that. So in order to use that one, again, you just have exactly the same exact attachments, like for the barrel, the 16-inch and the saber barrel, or the suppressor, the Merc foregrip and the 5mm laser. You just put on the 45 hollow point rounds. And now you have yourself a sniper rifle. Now what you could do, if you're not playing cranked, if you don't have the crank timer on, again that increases your reload speed and stuff, you can take off the suppressor if you don't want that kind of like stealth bonus there, and you could just put on sleight of hand. Reloads it pretty quickly. And yeah, so you can just trade off that, because the suppressor again, and just like the barrel, they don't give like a crazy amount of hipfire accuracy, so you can like lose one of those attachments if you want to. I just recommend the suppressor because it doesn't do a whole lot more. It's a little bit worse than the actual barrel itself, so that's definitely a trade-off that you can do there, again, if you're not running cranked. And essentially those are the two builds. This has definitely been a pretty cool looking build to the Vector, because now it follows in one of those unique kind of builds for hipfire accuracy. Mostly this stuff has to do with SMGs and stuff, because they're the second best thing with the most amount of hipfire accuracy. The third best is the assault rifles. The fourth best, of course, will be the the LMGs. And in sniper rifles, you can't do anything to increase that, and they're the worst, of course. Shotguns kind of fall somewhere, I guess, with the assault rifles, so
Be advised, UAV is bingo fuel.
it's not that bad.
RTB for resupply.
So this is the sniper version, and then we also got the close range, absolutely Dysteria new one kind of deal up close. Oh lord. Of course, if you give yourself a headshot, it's an instant kill, of course, so. Or in the normal game mode.
At long last.
So, let's go ahead and call in this nuke. I don't really know why I earned that, because, you know, it's just against bots. But as you can see,
Sentry gun's hot.
it's a pretty cool gun. Again, the burst delay is almost non-existent, but I can only pull the trigger so fast, so. There we are, fastest firing gun in the game, besides the, what is it, the minigun, and it is absolutely awful at long range, but it does absolutely shred people in close range. It will absolutely just shred them right where they stand, just absolutely just drop them. Of course, with the 45 hollow point, again, it's more for the long range kind of builds. It rearranges the whole entire stats for the Fennec or the Vector, since it has the burst delay that gives you like another fraction of a second of those little white lines for hipfire accuracy. The recenter gives you more of an accuracy bonus at the after every 2 shots, I guess, so you can hit those longer ranges. Now if you don't want to use that, or if you want to combo it, I guess you can run the MP7, which is the second most amount of accuracy for SMGs. And I would run exactly the same exact kind of deal here, like the monolithic suppressor, the largest barrel, which happens to be the FSS Recon, 5mm Merc foregrip, and a 60-round magazine for the more ammo. Essentially just like the Fennec or the Vector. And that's essentially it. Those are the 2 builds for hipfire accuracy. If I find anything else that's a pretty good build for this gun, I will definitely put it into a video. And I'll be messing around with other guns too. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Oh.